This is Daily Blast Live. We're talking about what you're talking about.
Get real.
You all ready for this? Dun, 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 dun. No.
Y'all, just stop.
This is a sham.
Welcome to DBL. Happy Thursday, everybody.
Yeah.
Feeling good.
Hey.
I got Friday vibes, so that's a
I
good
thought it
thing.
was Friday
Kick off
until you
to the
said
weekend.
that.
Really?
Yeah, I thought it was Friday.
But now are you a little disappointed that it's not now?
I'm terribly disappointed. It's okay.
So I just ruined your day and
did.
maybe some people out there. All right, let's get to it because it's Splitsville for Aaron Rodgers and Shailene Woodley. The two have ended their year-long engagement, according to People magazine, and there's no bad blood and no drama. They're just two very different people with busy careers. Sounds like it ended amicably. Aaron got into some hot water last year after he lied about being vaccinated, and at the time, Shailene defended Aaron and blamed the media for making a story out of nothing. So now she's going to be like, I don't agree with that after
She has.
Has she already?
Yeah, I mean, she's told publicly that they have different points of view on this.
Right.
And she is very, and I say this with like most respect, like a hippie, cool granola, like really progressive. And I think, I don't know, but I would speculate that weighed pretty heavy on her, all of that controversy. That's not an easy thing to do when you're trying to have your honeymoon station.
I'm going to push back a little bit on that. I think that a lot of air quote hippie granola people, they also kind of Venn diagram with the anti-vaxxers
There are,
as well,
you're absolutely
because
right.
they're nothing, almost kind of everything natural from the earth. So I do know that there's kind of a holistic part of the anti-vax.
Yeah, there's also this intersectionality with her career is on the rise, and he is looking for his next chapter.
Fair.
I really am not surprised by this news. I'm sad about it for her,
right?
Because I'm sure that there were probably a lot of influences coming at her when his issues with the vaccination and everything became so viral.
Yeah.
So that could not have been easy for her at all.
No.
So I'm not shocked by this, but I never I thought they were cute together.
I think they were darling together.
But they were definite opposites. I think everybody saw that, but sometimes opposites attract.
That used
which
to
I
be
think,
a thing.
Yeah.
Like I kind of, that's the one thing that I always had issues with in terms of the dating apps. I get that somebody might want to mark like, I don't want to live with a smoker. That's kind of a deal breaker.
Right.
But sometimes when you list everything you want, it's everything you think you want. Until you meet that person, you're like, oh, I thought I wanted like somebody laid back like me, but turns out I need somebody that's like, hey, get up, we're going to work this Saturday, and then we'll relax. It's like, oh, I kind of needed a little, jump start. So I kind of feel like you don't know what you want, and sometimes opposites do attract.
Yeah,
That's my husband.
Totally. I'm not going to badmouth Aaron Rodgers here, even though he is the Green Bay Packers quarterback.
Yeah.
And he does own us.
And maybe
as he
said
words.
that.
But there's a rumor out there he might be coming to Denver. So I'm jumping on that bandwagon if he does.
Come right to DBL like, oh, Erica.
You're not going to jump on Aaron Rodgers' bandwagon if he's the Denver quarterback?
I'm not. I just go to the games.
She's going to be cheering.
Erica sticks with that Chicago at heart.
I go
love
to the games. It's a great thing to do on a Sunday.
But there would be greater if he's our quarterback.
Awesome.
We're getting into football talk, but
awesome.
I'm excited.
As long as they have the cheeseburger I like.
They will. All right. Speaking of breakups, Jake Gyllenhaal is finally addressing his with T Swift. So, for more than a decade, fans have assumed that Taylor's song All Too Well was about her 3-month relationship. I didn't know that's how short that relationship was, by the way. Cuckoo. All right, with Jake. But back in 2010, they're coming for me now. When Taylor released the extended version of the song last year, her fans came after Jake, mainly for allegedly keeping Taylor's red scarf.
Right.
Tori's nodding her head. She might have wrote something on Jake's Instagram. So in an Esquire interview, Jake revealed he turned off his Instagram comments because of the backlash. While he didn't blame Taylor for writing a song about their relationship, he added that it's important when fans get unruly that the artists feel a responsibility to have them be civil and not allow cyberbullying.
This came out
Jake.
of my mouth.
Amen.
Yesterday.
Yeah. Oh, did it?
Yesterday, because I was talking to a friend of mine about what responsibility, and I'm glad we get a chance to talk about it here. What responsibility does an artist have when they know? It was in regards to when that person asked Kanye for the green light to do something to Pete Davidson, that verified account, and how many people saw that because the verified accounts go right to the top. Something bad is going to happen because there are people that are crazy fans for whatever artist that will do anything to show that artist how much they love them. And I'm just worried, Erica, Tori, Jeff, that we're not going to really address this until something really bad happens.
Well, I think that there are levels to this. I mean, Kanye was having a talk about elimination. This is a talk about a red scarf. But I do agree that you do have a certain amount of responsibility to ensure that people understand where you're coming from and like the difference between art and reality. That being said, there are people who are going to try to just make themselves known and shown regardless of what you say or what you do because they feel this connection with you. Yeah. And I don't know if anyone has control over that other than the authorities.
Yeah, I want to agree with you guys, and I do that, like, at some point you need to take responsibility, like Kanye, right? Or even other situations. But then you're telling me that, like, breakup songs can't really happen, or art has to be sort of modified because you're worried about the fans' reaction to it. And I'm wondering, and I'm just saying, does that take away the value of the actual art because you're censoring yourself due to what you think your army would do?
No, I don't think it's the art that's affected, right? I think you could sing and say whatever you want, but when they start acting unruly, like Jake said, and getting on his Instagram and somehow coming after him for Taylor's breakup or for her heartbreak, as Taylor Swift, you have to say, this was not Jake's fault. We dated for 3 months, guys. Everybody take a step back. That's when the responsibility, I think, comes in. Not about what you're singing
But won't there be someone who does that at every breakup song?
But when you have a mob called the Swifties or the Bayhive,
I hear you.
and people aren't pulling them back, I think that's a problem.
It's really scary. Go ahead, please, Erica.
No, I think I'm siding with Tori mainly because you're right. Like anytime you have, I'm siding with you because you're right. Anytime you have an artist,
I say we stop the show now.
who has a basically this transparency, like they've agreed to have this transparency with their audience, then that is the type of response that you're going to kind of get. Now there is a difference when we say the army. There's a difference because some people are more popular than others, which means that they have more people who are supporting them. But I do think it does affect the art a little bit. Like there's a theater.
But don't forget, we do have some precedents for violence. Didn't Sirhan shoot Ronald Reagan for Jodie Foster?
Robert F. Kennedy.
Robert F. Kennedy.
Yes.
Somebody did.
Oh, Brinkley shot Ronald Reagan for Jodie Foster.
Right. So, like, we do have, like, he was obsessed with a famous person.
They in the study
and tried to shoot
Colonel
somebody to show him that he loved her.
But is that Jodie Foster's fault?
I'm just saying, no, but if she let it bubble on her Instagram for years.
But that's her responsibility to help a crazy person?
It's not. This is the thing.
And what was Christopher Walken doing on that boat anyway?
Yeah, I want to know that.
I think
I need more
have a moral responsibility to do something if you feel something festering. If I felt something was festering on my Instagram about, like, hey, we're tired of Tory, I would shut it down. And you can do that. Am I legally obligated? No, but
I took Al's very educated answer and mocked it.
That's what you're here to do.
All right, let's get out of here. Coming up on DBL, our interview with Grammy-nominated singer Josh Groban. He's telling us all about his new tour. And Chet Hanks talks about growing up with famous parents. That's coming up next.
Closed captioning provided by
Sirhan shot Robert F. Kennedy. Hinckley shot Ronald Reagan and killed and didn't kill him. And do you remember James Brady from the Brady Bill? He was paralyzed in that shooting. If you didn't know that, from the Brady Bill. James Brady, who was a colleague of Ronald Reagan, was shot in the assassination attempt. No, there's no James Brady.
I thought you said the Brady Bunch.
No, the Brady Bill.
Peter got shot?
No. That was weird.
This is pretty much how I listened in school. You know what I mean? When something, I'm like, Garfield did what? No, the president. Oh, never mind.
But wasn't that like our first handgun bill because of that?
Brady Bill, yeah, exactly. And he's paralyzed from the waist down since that day.
Yeah, that's all. And I know, like, Tucker Carlson had a viewer that thought she was in a relationship with him.
Good. Middle school.
Yeah, but it's like there's people
that
have
was crazy.
Now, granted, can you conduct your career?
No, you cannot. You can't. And the problem is also by acknowledging it a lot of times, in some way, it only amplifies it. So, like, if
I know what you mean.
so it's like, okay, clearly there might be people who are struggling in some way, and they don't have the mental aptitude to understand, like, that this is not the way to, like, do things. But then if you say something and amplify it, then
it's almost like fame or shame, it's all the same game. You know, like people are getting something out of the bad interaction as if it were good. So most of the time, like, I feel like when people are on my social media saying something divisive, they're looking for me to respond, and I don't have time for that, because then it's more like just more energy.
Would there be anything that would cause you to respond if somebody posted something? Like if you felt like something had taken a turn, or would you still, or would you pass it on over to Twitter or Instagram?
Welcome back to DBL. Chet Hanks is revealing what it's really like to be the son of Tom Hanks. On his new YouTube channel, Chet said, while there are lots of advantages, obviously, to growing up with famous parents, it can also be hard to deal with. Let's watch.
My dad is beloved. He's on this pedestal. But for me, it created a lot of contempt because, A, people automatically assumed in general that I would just be a really arrogant, entitled, spoiled brat, even though I really wasn't. I'm very privileged, but I wasn't spoiled.
I don't know. All right, Chet said he had, I don't know, the no shirt threw me. All right. Yeah. Chet said he had no one to turn to growing up to help him deal with people who disliked him. Let's watch.
I didn't have like a strong male role model to tell me that, to tell me, hey, bro, these people, they're just jealous of you. You have all these things that they want, so they're trying to throw their shade at you so that you can feel about yourself because they're jealous. I needed to hear that. I don't have anyone to tell me that. This is me now as a man telling the younger version of myself what he needed to hear.
Did he not listen to hip hop? That's the whole premise. People want what you want. They're just haters. He should have just listened to hip hop. I think he does.
I think he does, too.
I really feel like it's a weird thing where he's focusing on all the people that don't like him, all the people that are saying these things about him, and he's not looking at that incredible view behind him and not looking at all the really cool things that he could do in all the avenues that are open to him. He's sitting around in his sad house talking to nobody about things that people cannot relate to. He could, however, be taking his celebrity and be doing good with it. He could be doing things for himself with it or to enrich his family, but he's chosen to complain. I think that's a strange avenue to go down.
I have to agree with Al here because the other brother, Colin Hanks, who I think have different mothers, if we can get a check on that, is fine and is his own person and has become a great actor and is a really funny guy. So you see it's the same house and two different responses. I wonder if it's a lot of I feel sorry for myself is what I'm wondering. And I understand that that's really hard because it is hard, but one brother did fine and one didn't.
Yeah.
Well, y'all having me out here defending Chet Hanks. I mean, I feel for him in a certain respect because what I heard was a guy who was talking about a very lonely way to grow up because there weren't a lot of people around him who could have that shared experience. Also, you know, when he was like a teenager or in his early 20s and he tried to do the rap thing at Northwestern. No, he was trying to be a rapper. Well, he was putting out songs at Northwestern and everybody, myself included, clowned him on the radio. So it's just, I'm just being honest. You know, like I think that it was kind of like he loses if he wins if he loses. Like it's a weird thing.
There have been children of famous people who have done well. I bought Jaden Smith's single, Icon. I love that. I whip my hair back and forth by Willow Smith. There are people that have made legitimate hits.
So the Smiths.
The Smiths. But there are famous people that have like done well. Tracy Ellis Ross. Yeah. So I'm not saying it's not difficult, but everything in life has its hurdles. But I want my hurdles to be coated in gold like theirs were.
Well, it's also weird that it's Hank's Fit. Have you noticed he's using the last name on that thing, which is so interesting.
Well,
it's
his last name.
I know, but
Like, dang,
if you're worried about Tom Hanks, maybe use your first name. That's the whole point of this video. If that's the whole point, use a different name.
All right, coming up on DBL, You Raise Me Up singer Josh Groban. Hey, I didn't even know he sang that. How he says his fans keep raising him up after more than 20 years of performing.
Oh, you get it?
Yeah, I got it now.
Okay.
We all know that.
In a recent White House press briefing, Dr. Anthony Fauci refuted claims that the COVID-19 vaccine could impair fertility in women and men, citing 2 different studies. So let's verify. Does the COVID-19 vaccine cause infertility? Our sources are the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, a joint statement from the American Society of Reproductive Medicine, the American College of Obstetricians and Gynecologists, and the Society for Maternal Fetal Medicine, and 2 studies on the impact of COVID-19 vaccines on fertility. The CDC says there is currently no evidence that COVID-19 vaccines cause fertility problems in women or men. A 2021 joint statement from reproductive health experts at 3 organizations emphasizes that there is, quote, no evidence that the vaccine can lead to loss of fertility, unquote. The studies referenced by Fauci during the briefing also support the statements from the CDC and reproductive health experts. A January 2021 study funded by the NIH monitored conception rates of about 2,100 couples in the U.S. and Canada. The study found that COVID-19 vaccine did not reduce the chances of conception. A study published in the American Journal of Obstetrics and Gynecology in January 2022 tracked about 200 vaccinated patients and about 1,000 unvaccinated patients for 7 months. The study found that receiving an mRNA vaccine, quote, was not associated with an adverse effect on stimulation or early pregnancy outcomes after in vitro fertilization, unquote. So we can verify, no. There's no evidence that the COVID-19 vaccine causes infertility in women or men. However, the 2021 NIH study did find that having a COVID infection may temporarily affect male fertility. Data from the study show that if a male partner was infected with COVID, the couple was 18% less likely to conceive for about 60 days. According to the study, getting vaccinated may help men avoid this short-term decline in fertility following a COVID infection. With your Verify, I'm Ariane Till.
You raise me up so I can stand on mountains. You raise me up to walk on.
Oh, that voice. Welcome back to DBL. Josh Groban has one of the most recognizable voices in the world, and he's bringing his voice back on tour this summer. Earlier, Lindsay and I caught up with a global superstar. Check it out. Josh Groban, it is always so lovely and great to have you back on DBL. You know I love him because he's so funny. People don't know he's so funny. All right, your birthday's coming up on February 27th, and you actually share your special day with your younger brother. So we just wanted to know what it was like sharing a birthday growing up.
Oh man, I mean, I'll never forget that that 4th birthday. I thought I had a clown coming to the house to do magic and animal balloons. Nope, straight to the hospital. You've got a brother on the way, and you know we learned to share very, very early on. He's my best friend. He's the best guy I know. But yeah, that was weird. That was really weird. My parents kept the schedule apparently.
That's crazy.
Let's move on to your variety show. It's back at Radio City Music Hall. Last time you had Dr. Ruth join the show to provide some sex ed. So I want to ask you, what was the best tip that she provided that night?
Yeah, speaking of people being born, I think a lot of kids have been born since that last show with Dr. Ruth. You know, Radio City is one of those venues that's just been a good luck charm place. And so they said, look, take the stage, do whatever you want with it. And so we've kind of created this great big variety show where there's guests and interviews and songs of mine and songs of others. And it's just a really good time and a great celebration of the city. So we'll be there April 7th, 8th, and 9th.
That's so cool. I'll be at Radio City Music Hall. That's
I know.
So cool to say. All right, it's been 20 years since you released your debut album. What music advice would you give a 20-year-old Josh today?
Well, I would say maybe don't be so anxious. I was a really anxious kid. You know, I was 15 when I was first given like my first solo in high school. And then, you know, like 16 and a half when I was discovered by David Foster. So the time the time between being a very, very nervous student and being a very, very nervous professional singer singing for presidents and royalty was really not that much time. And so I would kind of go back and I would say to him, just keep your head down, keep doing you, and don't sweat the small stuff. But it's impossible to, maybe that's one of the reasons why I'm still here, is because I was sweating the small stuff. So it's hard to say.
So your audience ranges from kids to grandparents.
Yeah.
But why do you think the demographic skews to those in their golden years?
I'm a nice young man with, I like to serve a cup of tea with every concert, and we have a special section in the audience for knitting, and we have bingo night on most of my shows. So I think we've really, all of those things have really helped me cultivate my true soulmates.
Josh, you're going on tour this summer. It's going to be the first time you play songs for a live audience off your latest album, Harmony. What song always makes the whole audience do a sing-along at your concerts?
People are always singing along to You Raise Me Up. People are always singing along to, sometimes with foreign language songs. People are singing along to songs that sometimes don't even know what they mean. It's an incredible thing when you feel like, I've been doing this now 20 years. And so when you have fans that have been with you your entire career, it's always an incredible thing to see those fans that are really just right there for you.
Josh's 2022 Harmony Summer Tour kicks off June 17th. To find a show near you, visit joshgroban.com. Josh, you were always such a pleasure. And I'm like an anxious person too, so so is Lindsay. We feel you.
Oh, yeah. You know what? But you know what, though? Take a deep breath. You're doing great. We're doing great. We're all going to make it. It's just not this. It's not that deep. We're just all just dust and doing the best we can.
I love that advice.
Amen.
Stardust. We'll be right back.
Bye.
Bye.
Promotional consideration is brought to you by
Kamila Valieva returned to the ice to compete in the women's short program in figure skating. The Russian Olympian was cleared by the Court of Arbitration for Sport to compete after she tested positive for a banned substance back in December. Soon after the court's decision, American sprinter Sha'Carri Richardson suggested on Twitter there was a double standard because she was forced to miss the Tokyo Games after she tested positive for THC. Richardson said she smoked marijuana to cope with her mother's death. Richardson then told her 500,000 followers that the only difference I see is that I'm a black young lady. So let's verify. Are Richardson's and Valieva's circumstances the same? Our sources are the Court of Arbitration for Sport, the International Olympic Committee, the World Anti-Doping Agency, the Russian Anti-Doping Agency, USA Track and Field, the International Skating Union, and sports attorney Howard Jacobs, who specializes in anti-doping cases. Jacobs explains Richardson's case is very straightforward and by the book. She tested positive, and less than 2 weeks later, U.S. anti-doping officials reported the results and imposed a 30-day suspension, which meant Richardson would miss the Olympics. Richardson also did not file any appeals and instead agreed to the suspension.
And that's how it's supposed to happen during, an Olympic trials or competition that is pre-Olympics. And if you contrast that to what happened in the Valieva case, the contrast is pretty stark.
Valieva's sample was collected in December, but it took 6 weeks for the results to come back, and the Olympics were already underway. The Russian anti-doping agency then suspended her, but unlike Richardson, Valieva appealed to RUSADA, and the agency agreed to let her compete. The World Anti-Doping Agency, the IOC, and the International Skating Union appealed that decision to the Court of Arbitration for Sport, which decided to uphold the decision to allow Valieva to compete. This also highlights another difference with Richardson. The IOC and WADA only stepped into Valieva's case after they disagreed with RUSADA's decision.
Pretty unusual for a provisional suspension to be set aside by any agency, but to have it all happen, in the middle of the Olympics, I don't think it's ever happened.
So it's false that Richardson's and Valieva's circumstances are the same. Valieva will continue competing at the Olympics, although it's possible she will be suspended later on, and the IOC could retroactively invalidate any medal she's won. With Your Verify, I'm Brandon Lewis.
Big air snowboarding and freestyle skiing are breathtaking winter games sports that combine speed and height with tricks often seen in the halfpipe and slopestyle competitions. Competitors slide down a long ramp and go over one jump. Once in the air, they do as many spins and flips as they can pull off, then try to land without falling. Big air snowboarding is back for a second time in the winter games, while big air skiing is making its debut. As for what the judges are scoring, you just need to know the DBL. DEAL. It stands for difficulty, execution, amplitude or height of the jump, and landing. Runs will be scored by a panel of judges. The highest and lowest scores are thrown out for each run.
Welcome back. It's that time of week again, so get ready to shop. Check out these new products from our friends at Morning Save.
Steph, what do you have for us today?
First up, we've got Power to Go Pro Lens Kit with LED light and travel case. So this 11-piece set includes a wide-angle lens, a macro lens, an LED light clip, a protective zippered case, and more.
Wow.
So normally this kit is as much as $60.
Okay.
But right now we've got it for only $24, which saves everyone at home 60%.
Let me take a picture of those savings, huh?
Now, Tori, this deal is awesome. We've got Empower Cool Breeze Flex Neck Fan.
I love these.
So the deal includes one neck fan. It's got bladeless technology. It even has 18 hours of cooling in just one charge.
Wow.
So normally the fan, neck, charger, and everything is $60.
Okay.
But we've got it for $29, saving everyone at home 52%. We've got a 10-pack of Glossmetics Hydrating Jawline Shaping Face Mask.
I need this.
How cool. Look at this. So this deal includes 10 of these jawline shaping masks. So you can tighten and lift your face with these shaping face masks that are infused with cooling aloe vera. So normally these are as much as $140 for a pack.
No.
This is an amazing deal because now they're $19, which saves up to 86%. And last but certainly not least, we've got Cortex Airblade Pro Performance Hair Dryer with Blue Ionic technology. So the deal includes one hair dryer, one narrow nozzle, one wide nozzle, and one diffuser.
Ooh.
And the ion technology helps keep your hair hydrated and healthy, which means less frizz and a faster drying time. So normally this is $250.
No.
But we've got it for only $49, Tori, saving 80%.
I love when it's a good morning save. Head on over to morningsave.com to snag these amazing deals at the lowest prices or gifts. You can even visit morningsave.com right on your smartphone. Again, Steph, thank you so much.
Great products. All right, so we want to clear up who shot who from the first segment.
Sirhan shot Robert F. Kennedy, and Hinckley shot Ronald Reagan. Didn't succeed, but for Jodie Foster. And if you remember, James Brady was shot in that assassination attempt and created the Brady Bill after being paralyzed from that gunshot.
Who shot the sheriff?
Oh, great song.
But not the deputy.
Wasn't Bob. Wasn't Bob. All right, DBL is new every day. We'll be back tomorrow, same time, same place.